There's a kind of silence that doesn't come from peace, but from shock. That's the silence that fell over the first-class cabin the moment the flight attendant kicked a black man's service dog. Not barked at it, not stepped around it. She kicked him. The dog didn't growl, didn't lunge, just looked up with those amber eyes, calm as a monk. And the man, he didn't raise his voice. He looked at her with the patience of someone who had seen worse. Much worse. Marcus Holloway, retired Delta Force commander. 27 years of shadow missions. Lost friends. And buried names. The man they thought was just another passenger with a service animal was one of the most lethal operatives the U.S. military had ever trained. He sat still, hands resting on the armrest, while Atlas, the German shepherd, gently leaned into his leg. "Ma'am," Marcus said, voice calm and deep, "that was a federal offense." The attendant blinked, as if processing a language she didn't understand. "Excuse me," she snapped, loud enough to turn heads. "Under the Air Carrier Access Act, service animals are protected by law. What you just did could land you in serious legal trouble." No threat, just fact, delivered with the same tone he once used to negotiate ceasefires and evacuations. People started whispering. A couple across the aisle, Margaret and Thomas Whitaker, looked visibly uncomfortable. Thomas opened his mouth, perhaps to speak up, but Margaret's hand touched his gently. He glanced at her, then back at Marcus, then lowered his eyes. His hand remained curled into a quiet fist on his lap. And then came the shift. The younger attendant, maybe 20s, with kind eyes and a nervous smile, approached. "Sir, I saw what happened. I'll notify the captain. Are you and your dog okay?" Marcus nodded. "We'll manage." But Atlas blinked slowly, not in pain but in patience. Across the row, a white man in business class chuckled under his breath. "They'll let anyone in first class these days." Marcus turned, locking eyes. "You have something you want to say out loud." The chuckling stopped. And yet the damage had already been done. By the time the plane landed, the entire front cabin had divided itself, those who had looked away, and those who had leaned in. Some avoided eye contact, others, like the Whitakers, walked out with deliberate calm, nodding at Marcus but not quite meeting his eyes. Aaliyah Johnson, a grad student in journalism, had watched everything from a few rows back. She gathered her things and caught up with Marcus by the terminal. "Excuse me, sir, I'm writing a piece about racial bias in public spaces. What happened on the flight?" Marcus handed her a card. "Call my office tomorrow. You get 15 minutes. The next day, she did. What started as an interview turned into a story with roots deeper than she imagined. Marcus had been part of a 2015 rescue mission in Kandahar, classified, dangerous, and messy. A mission that overlapped with the military careers of several men who now worked in high-ranking private security firms, including one whose son-in-law had been sitting across from Marcus on that plane. The same man who'd watched it all and said nothing. 1 week later, Aaliyah was attacked outside her apartment. Bruised ribs, a concussion, her bag stolen. And a witness reported the attacker said something about the soldier and his mutt. Coincidence? No such thing in Marcus's world. He activated old contacts, checked passenger manifests, cross-referenced with known CIA-linked private contractors. And one name popped: Mercer, former intel officer, now quietly advising a company competing with Marcus's own security firm. The flight. It hadn't been random. It had been a test. A stress test, a warning shot, a message. Marcus met with General Bradford, an old ghost from Kandahar, now retired but still dangerous. "Your son-in-law set this up," Marcus said. "You weaponized a flight attendant's bias and almost got a journalist killed." Bradford didn't confirm, he didn't deny. "Sometimes," the general said, "loose ends need trimming." Marcus stood. "Then you'd better hope I never get frayed." The meeting ended without a handshake. Back at the hospital, Aaliyah sat up in bed, bandaged but burning with purpose. "They tried to shut me up," she said, "but now they just gave me the lead." Marcus smiled, for the first time since retirement. He didn't feel like a ghost. 3 days later, the Whitakers hosted a cookout. A small thing. Nothing official. Just grilled ribs and good company. They invited Marcus. Their daughter, Elizabeth, showed up too. Casual smiles, barbecue, Atlas lounging nearby, tail thumping. Elizabeth asked about his service. Was it worth it? Marcus thought for a moment. Sometimes. Sometimes. It gave me something to believe in. Other times, it just gave me reasons to fight. She nodded, no judgment, just understanding. As the sun set, neighbors gathered around. One woman brought lemonade, a kid asked to pet Atlas. And then, quietly, awkwardly, the man from the flight. The business class chuckler. He approached. His voice was low. I didn't know who you were. Marcus didn't even turn. That's the problem. You shouldn't need to. Aaliyah's article ran front page the following Sunday, beneath the uniform race, bias, and the quiet wars we still fight. The ending quote was Marcus's "The battlefield changes, the fight doesn't." But it didn't end there. That night, Marcus's daughter, Zoe, called. Dad, we need to talk about my deployment. I need your help. Marcus exhaled, glancing at Atlas, sleeping peacefully by the fireplace. I'm listening. What started with a silent dog in first class ended with ghosts awakened, systems exposed, and a journalist finding her fire. The man they underestimated, he didn't raise his voice. He didn't seek revenge. He just made sure the world saw what it tried to ignore. And the ones who watched in silence, some are still trying to forget. Some never will. So what do you think? Was it justice, wild, or just another story? Right or wrong? Courage or overreaction? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if you believe in justice.